Hello everyone, you're welcome once again to my channel, and as usual I'm excited to have you around. How's been the learning journey? Worth it, right? Okay, so today we're going to be diving deep into another fundamental yet important aspect of the SQL. So make sure you stick around till the end of the video and gain something valuable. Today we're going to be looking at how we can start retrieving read our data. So in SQL, the process of retrieving our data to get the necessary insight is what we call querying. So you're actually querying. Now the collection of your code, they are what we call query. So in SQL, you are going to be querying your data using some clause and statements. Okay, so now these statements, they are numerous in their numbers and they have different purpose and functions. But the basics of these statements are the select statement, which is also known as the select clause, the from clause, as well as the where clause. So we're going to take them one after the other now. Now the select clause tells which data or set of data that you are to retrieve from your database, which means in your select clause, that's where you specify maybe the name of the column, the set of data you want to return in your query. Okay, so we are going to do that in practice as we move on. Now, moving forward, the from clause specifies the table from which our data will be retrieved. Just like from, like you're telling somebody, okay, go and get me this particular item from that place, from that room, from is pointing to the table where the data will be retrieved. Why the where clause is the one that filters our retrieved data based on some specific set of conditions. For instance, you're telling, let's say inside you're telling somebody, can you go get me maybe my shoe from that room, from room number 105. And of course, in that room there are different types of shoes, probably in colors. So you need to really specify which of the color is yours. Okay, so when you now say, help me to bring my shoe, the red shoe. So that means you filtered the search to only return red. That is the same way we write it in our SQL. So in the where statement, that is where we specify the conditions that our retrieved data must meet. Okay, so you can specify as many conditions as possible. As we proceed, you're going to see the advanced way of doing this. Okay, now let's get our hands dirty doing something. Okay, so we're still going to continue with the table we earlier created. So if you've not watched the first video about creating database and what database is all about, then you need to go back and watch it so that you can follow along. So you can just pause it now and go watch the video. Okay, so now let's see what we have in that table. So we already created a table we created a database, we call it SQL tutorial, which is here, as you can see. So this is the database here. So and then tables. So we have a table called students. So let's try to retrieve some information from the student table. Okay, so to do that, I am just going to say select. Now for the select statement, you select the columns that you want to return from a particular table. Okay, you can select, if you want to select all the columns, you make use of asterisk. So now this is select all. So this asterisk means it's going to select and return all the columns from that table. So now let's specify which table are we getting this from. So I'll say from the students table. Okay, so from students. So now you're going to execute it. To execute your code, it's always good to highlight it in the situation that you have many queries in the same window, the same tab. So always highlight the one you want to run there. We're going to execute it. Now you can see this is the student table. So with the select all, we've been able to return all the information for the student table. See, in the student table, we have the student ID, color, first name, last name, gender, age, class. Let's assume we only want to return the first name and the last name. So that means we're going to specify it in our select statement, like the first name. So when you are selecting more than one column, the best practice is to separate the columns by a comma. Okay, so then the next column, last name, last name. Okay, so now I can run it together now. So can you see it has only returned the first name and last name, because that was those are the two columns I specified in my select statement. So which means that you can't select any column outside your table, the one you are pointing to in the from statement. Okay, so that is, if there is any column that I'm selecting here and is not inside this table called student, it's not going to run. So now let's move on. Okay, so in the select statement, we okay, in writing your query, now it's always, what I always advise people to do is always start with your from statement. Why? Because once you pointed to the table, it will make your referencing easier. What do I mean? Now let's do this. So you will see, you can see here now that in my select statement, select, now the select, it doesn't know which table I'm selecting from yet, so I'm prone to error, to make error in writing the name of the column. But if your table is already pointed to, once you start typing maybe the first two letters, it's going to bring suggestions of all the columns in that table, and from there you can easily pick, even without stressing yourself typing the entire names or characters of that column title. Do you understand now? Now let's do this. So you see here, I'm trying to type first name. Now the suggestions popping up, they are not the ones I want, because I've not really pointed to a table. But now if I should point to a table first, so from student, let's say from student. Okay, now you will see that in my select statement, immediately I start typing any column in that table, it will start popping up. Let's say class. So can you see I already have class as a first suggestion? So with this, you can double click on it, or you press your tab key to select that. So I'll just press my tab key. Then with this, it will make your querying faster. I hope you get that. So let's continue. So now let's see what we have in the entire table again, so that we can start doing some manipulations there. Okay, so we have the student ID, first name, last name, gender, age, class. Let's say we want to return information about female students alone. So that is, we want this query to run based on the condition. And what's the condition? The condition is that the gender should be female, which is F, right? So that means in our where statement, we are going to specify that. So we just say where gender. So it has already suggested it, so I'm just going to tab it in. Where gender. Now the first thing in your where statement, can make use of the equal sign. So equal sign is used when the condition you want to set is specific. You don't want it to be specific, so you can use equal sign. So where gender equals F, right? So whatever condition you are setting here, you must make sure it's a value inside that particular column where you are using as a condition. So in this case, gender, in the gender column, we have two different values, F and M. It means that whatever value we are saying gender is equal to must be either of these two values that are inside gender column, meaning that you can filter your query on a condition that is not inside your table. Is that taken? So now let's do that. Where gender equals F. F is a string, hence we need to put it in quotation. So I'll just single quotation meanwhile. So just say F. Now we can run it. Let's run it. Let's highlight everything and then run. Execute. Okay, so you can see now these are the students that are female. As you can see in the gender column, there's no gender here that is male. All of them are F. Do you understand? So with this, we'll be able to filter our query based on the condition that the gender must be female. So you can also do same maybe for age. So let's say where age equals 11. So age equals, so now in the age column, the value, the data type is an integer, so we don't need to put it in quotation. Okay, so we're just going to write it the exact way. So where age equals 11. Now let's run it. Okay, so we only have one student called Lovely Water with the age 11. Do you understand how it works now? So now let's move on. Another thing we can do in the where statement is we can make use of this inequality signs, whether greater than, less than, or not equal to. So now let's make use of the greater than. So let's say we want to search for students that their age is greater than 11. We're just going to say where age greater than 11, right? Then we are going to run it. So can you see we have 7 students and their age is greater than 11, and you will see in the age column there is no age that is less than 11. So when you say greater than, it means it's going to edge 11 out. It will start from the next figure after 11. So in the same way we can do less than. Let's look for students where their age is less than 11. So we're just going to use our less than, then we run it. Okay, so we have 3 students that their age is less than 11. I hope that is taken now. So now let's say we want all the students that we want every other student that falls in any other age aside 11. So that means we're going to say where age is not equal to 11. So the age could be 10, the age could be 12 and above, but it must not be 11. So how do we say that? We're just going to say we're going to use a combination of greater than and less than together. So whenever you see these two combined together, it means not equal to. So let's run it. Okay, so as you can see, there's no age here that is exactly 11. We have those greater than 11 and we have those less than 11. So that is how to use our inequality signs with in our where statement. So guys, why these clauses that we've looked at are powerful? They are still the basic, because in the real world multiple tables are connected together and you have to be querying your data from different multiple tables that are related together. So how do we query data from these multiple tables? And in the first place, how are these tables related? So that takes us to the next video where I talk about relationship in data in relational database management system and how they work. So make sure you watch the video so that we can flow together. So guys, thanks for staying with me all through the video. This brings us to the end of the video. Thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe and share if you find this content helpful. I'm sure I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye.